The cultural and historical significance of traditional Japanese suicides, honor, rituals, and legacy. To understand traditional Japanese suicides more fully, it's important to delve into the cultural, social, and historical contexts that shaped these practices. These suicides were not merely acts of despair, but complex rituals that were influenced by honor, religious beliefs, and societal expectations. 1. Seppuku, harakiri, ritual suicide of the samurai. How it was performed. Seppuku, or harakiri, which literally means stomach cutting, was a highly ritualized and deliberate form of suicide practiced by samurai warriors. The process involved a samurai slicing open their own abdomen, the hara, or stomach, which was seen as the seat of one's emotions, courage, and spirit in Japanese culture. The samurai would use a short sword, called a wakizashi, to perform the act. This was considered a way of purging the soul of dishonor. The samurai typically would kneel and stab the sword into their abdomen, then draw it horizontally to open the body. A key feature of seppuku was the role of the kaishakunin, or second, who was a trusted companion tasked with decapitating the person performing the seppuku to ensure that they died swiftly and without prolonged suffering. Why it was practiced. Restoration of honor. The primary reason for seppuku was to restore personal or familial honor. If a samurai faced disgrace or failure, whether in battle, leadership, or even a breach of bushido, the samurai code of conduct, they might choose seppuku rather than live with the shame. A warrior who failed in their duty could consider this their only path to redemption. Failure in battle or leadership. Samurai could commit seppuku if they were captured or defeated, as their families and communities would often view capture as disgraceful. They were expected to die honorably on the battlefield or, in some cases, choose seppuku to avoid falling into enemy hands. Duty to one's lord or master. Seppuku was also seen as a way to fulfill the samurai's loyalty to their lord. If a samurai failed in their duty or failed to protect their lord, they might commit seppuku to show their remorse and loyalty to the ruler. Political reasons. In some cases, the act was politically motivated. For example, a samurai might be asked by their lord to commit seppuku to avoid disgrace for their entire family or as a way to prevent further scandal or rebellion. 2. Bushido, the code of the samurai. The practice of seppuku was deeply influenced by Bushido, the samurai code of honor that emphasized virtues such as loyalty, courage, and self-discipline. According to Bushido, a samurai was expected to maintain a sense of personal and familial honor throughout their life, and failure to do so was seen as an unacceptable loss of dignity. This led to practices, like seppuku, where individuals could restore their honor through self-sacrifice. Loyalty and honor. Bushido placed immense emphasis on loyalty to one's lord. Samurai were expected to serve their masters faithfully, and if they failed in this duty, they would often feel bound to commit seppuku as a way to atone for their failure. Courage. Courage was one of the central virtues of Bushido. A samurai who failed to live up to the high expectations of their role could lose their sense of identity. Seppuku became the ultimate display of courage, as it required not only physical bravery but also emotional fortitude. 3. Shinju, double suicide, the lover's death. How it was performed. Shinju refers to a double suicide, commonly involving lovers or partners who, often due to societal pressures, would choose to die together. Lovers might choose shinju when they were unable to live together because of family opposition, strict social rules, or financial hardship. The act usually involved the couple either stabbing themselves or hanging themselves together, choosing death as an escape from insurmountable obstacles in their relationship. In the case of a stabbing, one would typically stab their lover before committing suicide themselves, ensuring they died together. Why it was practiced. Romanticism of the act. Shinju was often romanticized in kabuki theater and later in literature and popular culture. It became a symbol of undying love and devotion, suggesting that the couple's love was so strong that they could not bear to be separated in life or death. In this context, the double suicide was a tragic but beautiful gesture. Social constraints and pressure. In traditional Japanese society, there were strict rules regarding marriage and relationships. Lovers who were prevented from being together by family, social class, or financial barriers might choose death as a way of defying these constraints. This was particularly common during periods when arranged marriages were the norm and personal feelings had little weight in such matters. 4. Religious and philosophical beliefs. Japanese religious thought, influenced by Buddhism and Shintoism, also played a role in suicide practices. Buddhism teaches the impermanence of life and the possibility of enlightenment through suffering and selflessness. While Buddhism did not condone suicide, there were instances where people believed that sacrificing oneself could lead to a better spiritual outcome, especially in the context of seppuku. Some warriors viewed their act as a way to purify their soul. Shintoism, which focuses on the reverence of nature and ancestors, had a complex relationship with death. While the practice of committing suicide was generally seen as disruptive to the natural world and family lines, some individuals might have justified their deaths as restoring balance or duty to family honor. 5. The impact of war and samurai ethics. In the samurai's world, warfare was often brutal, and defeat or failure in battle was seen as a shameful outcome. For samurai, war was not just a physical conflict, but a means of upholding family honor, duty, and personal integrity. If they were captured or forced to surrender, committing seppuku was seen as a way to avoid the shame of being taken prisoner. War and honor. War reinforced the samurai code, where even in defeat, maintaining honor was paramount. Failure in battle could lead to punishment, exile, or death, but choosing seppuku was often seen as an act of dignity, a refusal to face the humiliation of capture. 6. Modern perspectives and influence on Japanese suicide culture. While traditional suicide practices like seppuku have largely disappeared, the concept of honor and societal pressure still play a role in contemporary Japanese culture, particularly in cases of suicide clusters and suicides linked to academic or professional stress. However, modern Japan also sees suicide as a tragedy, and there is an increased awareness of mental health issues and efforts to reduce the rates of suicide in the country. Suicide in modern Japan. Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, although it has decreased in recent years. The pressures of work, school, and family can still drive people to take their own lives, with many choosing suicide as a way to escape the overwhelming stress of life. The modern view of suicide has shifted from being an act of honor to a public health concern. 7. In closing, the traditional practice of suicide in Japan was deeply rooted in a complex web of cultural, social, and religious influences. From the warrior class's seppuku to the romanticized notion of double suicides, these acts were framed as responses to societal norms and personal honor. While these practices are not common today, they shaped Japanese views on death, honor, and personal responsibility, and the echoes of these can still be found in certain aspects of modern Japanese culture.